Hello everyone, this is part 5 video on past year NEET questions from the chapter thermodynamics in physics. Now those who are looking at this video, right, can also take a look at the previous parts so that you'll have continuity of questions, and in the previous parts we have covered questions from the most recent years. We'll begin with a question that has come in the year 2006. It's a kind of a straight question. The molar specific heat capacity at constant pressure of an ideal gas is 7/2R. Means what is this? This is our Cp. So molar specific capacity at constant pressure. The ratio of specific heat at constant pressure to the constant volume means what they're asking. They're asking the Cp by Cv ratio. This is what we call as gamma, right? So already Cp is given to us. Cp is what? 7/2R. So we have a relation between Cp and Cv. What is it? Cp minus Cv is equal to R. Cp minus Cv is equal to R, which means what? We are looking for Cv means Cv will be what? Cp minus R. So Cp is 7/2R minus R. That will be equal to what? Take an LCM. It will be what? 7R minus 2R. That is 5R/2. That is our Cv. So we're looking for the ratio, Cp by Cv ratio we're looking for. So what is it going to be? It will be 7R/2 divided by 5R/2. That is what? 2 is cancelled. R is cancelled. What is it? 7/5. And we know this is basically what? For the diatomic gases, the gamma value will be what? 7/5 or 1.4. So what is the correct answer for this? Option B is the right answer. We'll move on to the next question. This is a question that has come in the year 2005. An ideal gas heat engine operates in Carnot cycle. Means we're talking about the Carnot heat engine between 227 degrees Celsius is the high temperature. Means what? This is the source. Okay. And 127. This is the sink. So we have to keep one thing in mind carefully, that these temperatures are in which scale? Celsius scale. It absorbs 6 into 10 power 4 calories of heat at high temperature. The amount of heat converted into work means we have to find out what is the work done per cycle. So in one cycle it is absorbing, say for example, 6 into 10 power 4 calories of heat. We have to find what is the corresponding work. So look at it. This is what is the typical design of the heat engine, right? So we'll have a source which will be at a high temperature. We'll derive heat from there. The usual notation is we'll say Q1. Using that we'll perform some work W. The remaining amount of heat will be rejected to the sink. Sink will be at the low temperature. So here if you observe it, right, these temperatures are what? T2. Sink temperature is 127 degrees Celsius. Means what is it? In terms of Kelvin scale it is 400 Kelvin. T1 source 227 means what is it? It will be 500 Kelvin. Okay, so in terms of Kelvin scale, the source temperature is 500 Kelvin. Sink temperature is what? 400 Kelvin. Now for the ideal heat engine or the Carnot heat engine, the efficiency factor, which is the amount of work done by the heat taken from the source, efficiency factor will be 1 minus T2 by T1. So this is only for what? This relation, efficiency factor 1 minus T2 by T1 is only for the Carnot's heat engine. So here you can see W will be equal to what? Q1 into 1 minus T2 by T1. T2 means what? 400. T1 is what? 500. So this is what? Q1 6 into 10 power 4 calories into 100 is cancelled. 1 minus 4/5 means what? It will be 1/5. Okay. So what is 6 divided by 5? That is 1.2. So 1.2 into 10 power 4 calories. This is the work done. So they're asking, the amount of heat that is connected to work means W only they're asking. So W will be what? 1.2 into 10 power 4 calories. So Carnot's engine we have got, like if you look at the question that we discussed in the previous videos also, right, we'll see that quite a number of questions we have got on the Carnot's engine, efficiency, etc. Next we have a kind of straightforward theoretical question. This is a question that has come in 2005. Which of the following processes is reversible? Reversible means what? The process that can be reversed. Okay, so if you look at the options given to us, right, what is option A? The transfer of heat by conduction. Option A is what? Transfer of heat by the conduction. So when there is a transfer of heat by the conduction, what happens? We'll have the heat getting conducted from high temperature side to the low temperature side. And this will be what? This is going to be irreversible, because it is going to happen in only one direction, because it will always go from where? High temperature side to low temperature side. Okay, so this cannot be the reversible one. What about the option B? Transfer of heat by the radiation. So radiation also, right? We have an object which is at a high temperature, means that will be radiating more amount of heat. That is going to be radiating more amount of heat. Whereas an object which is at a low temperature, it will be radiating only less amount of heat. So that way the radiation also is going to be what? Depending upon the temperature difference between the objects. Like a high temperature object will be radiating more, low temperature object will be radiating less. So in fact we will study about this in which chapter? In the thermal properties of matter. So where we will see that the radiation power is directly proportional to fourth power of temperature of that object. Okay, so here also this is not going to be a reversible one. Okay, this is also irreversible. What about the isothermal compression? Isothermal compression means what? At constant temperature, we take a gas and we compress it. So we take a gas and we basically what? Compress it. Now this one can be reversible, because if, say for example, the external pressure and the system pressure, they are almost equal to each other, then what will have? The process can be reversed by just applying a little bit more pressure. So if inside the gas we'll apply a little bit more pressure, means what happens? The process can be reversed. So we can have reversible isothermal compression. In fact, no, we keep talking about it, right? When we have isothermal process, we'll use the word whether it is a reversible or irreversible. Means isothermal compression can be reversible when the system pressure or the gas pressure is almost equal to the external pressure. Okay, what about the option D? So we got our answer. Option D is what? Electrical heating of the nichrome wire. So when you heat it, so this is something that we'll even talk about it in the heating effect of electric current chapter. So if you heat it, means what is going to happen? So when you take the nichrome wire and basically pass current through it, because of the power dissipated, right, the nichrome wire is going to get heated, and this is a process that will be irreversible. So from that heat again we will not be able to get the current back. So because electrical current means what? It is a form of energy, and that is used to heat the nichrome wire when we pass the current, but we cannot reverse it. From that heated nichrome wire we will not be able to get the current. So this is also what? Irreversible. So the one that is reversible is what? Option C. Okay, we'll go to the next question. This is a question that has come in 2004. The equation of state is a rather very straightforward question. The equation of state for 5 grams of oxygen at a pressure P and temperature T when the occupying volume is V. See, 5 grams of oxygen means what? We are talking about the oxygen gas, which is O2. So here 5 grams means what is the number of moles given mass by what is the molar mass of the oxygen gas? It is 32 grams. So what is it? Number of moles will be 5 by 32. They're asking what is the equation of state, means they're asking what is the gas equation. What is the gas equation? PV is equal to nRT, right? Pressure they are saying P, temperature they are saying T, volume they are saying V. The only thing we have to replace is number of moles, because they are giving us the amount of the gas. So what is it? PV is equal to what is the number of moles? 5 by 32 into RT. Okay, so what is the equation of state for this 5 grams of the oxygen gas that is given to us? It is option A, which is PV is equal to what? 5 by 32 into RT. Okay, we'll move on to the next question. So this is a question related to the adiabatic process. What is it? 1 mole of an ideal gas at an initial temperature T Kelvin does 6 joules of work adiabatically. So what is the work done in this particular process? It is 6 joules. Okay, the initial temperature is what? T Kelvin. So initial temperature is what? So we can say T initial is what? T. Okay, if the ratio of specific heats of the gas at constant pressure and constant volume is 5/3, means essentially what they're giving us gamma. Gamma is what? Cp by Cv, right? So gamma is given as what? 5/3. The final temperature of the gas will be, means we have to find what is the T final. See, first of all, let us try to understand how we will get the work done in case of the adiabatic. Look at this now. Adiabatic means what? Delta Q will be simply 0. What is the first law of thermodynamics? Del Q minus W is equal to delta U, right? Del Q 0 means what? Minus W is equal to delta U. Otherwise, W is equal to what? Minus delta U. So W is equal to what? Minus delta U means what? NCV delta T. Okay. So minus N into Cv is what? For a gas whose gamma is 5/3, Cv will be what? It will be 3/2R, and Cp will be what? 5/2R. This is what? It is the monoatomic gas, right? So in place of Cv, what we will substitute? 3/2 into R, okay? Into delta T means what? T final minus T initial. T initial is T, that they are already giving us. So W is given as what? It is given as not 6 joules, this is 6R joule, okay? So W is given as what? 6R, right? So we'll just substitute here. 6R is equal to what? What is it? Minus 1 mole, means N is equal to 1. 3/2 into R, so R is cancelled. In fact, here 3 1s are, 3 2s are, that is also getting cancelled. T final minus T. Okay, so we'll just erase the portion on the left side. So what we'll have, check it. We erase the portion on the left side. What are we going to have? We'll have the left hand side is what? Left hand side we'll have 2. So 2 is equal to what? Right hand side what we'll have? Minus half into T final minus T. So we'll just bring the 2 to the left hand side. 2 2s are what? It will become 4. 4 is equal to minus Tf plus T. So we'll bring the minus Tf to the left side and take the 4 to the right side. What we'll have? Left side we'll have Tf. Right side we'll have T minus 4. So what is the answer for this? The final temperature will be what? It will be T minus 4 Kelvin. So all we are doing in this question is looking at the work expression in case of the adiabatic process. Adiabatic process means what? Del Q 0. So we'll get what is the expression for the work from where? From the delta U formula. So in this, because it is a monoatomic gas, Cv is what? 3/2R. Okay, so these things we have to remember so that it will actually help us in quickly getting the answer for this question. Okay, we'll move on to the next question. This is a question that has come in 2002. This is also question based on the Carnot's engine. So we see that quite a lot of questions have come based on the Carnot's engine. The efficiency of Carnot engine is 50%. Means this is the percentage efficiency. Yeah? So factor will be what? Factor will be 0.5. Okay. The efficiency of the Carnot's engine is 50% and the temperature of the sink is 500 Kelvin. So sink temperature means generally we will represent with the symbol T2. If the temperature of the source is kept constant and its efficiency is raised to 60%, means we are not touching the source temperature. Source temperature we are keeping as it is. And we want to raise the efficiency to what? 60%. Means in terms of factor it will be what? 0.6. If you want to raise the efficiency to 60%, factor wise it will be what? 0.6. Then the required temperature of the sink will be, means we are looking at what is the new sink temperature that is required. See, first let us look at it now. Carnot's efficiency factor will be what? 1 minus T2 by T1. So it is related to what? The sink temperature and the source temperature. Initially what is the efficiency factor? 0.5. So 0.5 is equal to what? 1 minus T2. So sink temperature is what? Initially 500 Kelvin. Divide by T1. So if you look at it, right, so we can rearrange it. So take this 1 to the left side. What is it? 0.5 minus 1 is equal to minus 500 by T1. Means what is this? This is minus 0.5. Minus 0.5 is equal to minus 500 by T1. This is cancelled. 0.5 means what? 1 by 2. If you rearrange means we will get T1 is equal to what? It will be 1000 Kelvin. So the initial source temperature is what? 1000 Kelvin. This we will keep it. Now in the second scenario, right, I'll just write it down here. Second scenario, what are we doing? We are not changing the source temperature. Source is as it is, but we want to increase the efficiency. What? 60 means, look at it, efficiency factor now is 0.6. It becomes is equal to 1 minus T2 dash, the new sink temperature. Only sink temperature is going to be changed, divide by source we keep as it is, which is what? 1000. Okay, so 0.6 means what? We can either convert this into fraction form, or we can maybe first bring the 1 to the left side. It will be what? 0.6 minus 1 is equal to minus T2 dash by 1000. 0.6 minus 1 means what? 0.4. So 0.4 is equal to minus 0.4 is equal to T2 dash by 1000. Minus is cancelled. We will bring the 1000 to the left side. 0.4 into 1000 means what? This is 400 in terms of Kelvin scale. That is our T2 dash. So the new sink temperature has to be what? 400 Kelvin, so that the efficiency with the same source temperature as it is 1000, with the same source temperature, if we want to hit efficiency of 60% or efficiency factor of 0.6, we should have the sink temperature to be what? 400 Kelvin. Okay, we'll move on to the next question. This is a question that has come in 2001. This is based on the Carnot's engine again, but it's based on the basic idea of what is this Carnot's maximum efficiency. Look at this. A scientist says the efficiency of his heat engine, which works at source temperature of 127 and sink temperature 27, is 26%. Then we have to conclude whether it is impossible or it is possible, data incomplete, etc., etc. So they are talking about what? The heat engine which is operating. So this is the typical design of the heat engine, right? We will derive the heat from the source. Source is what? High temperature, 127 degrees Celsius, means in terms of Kelvin scale it is what? 400. So we will use this heat to do some work W, and the remaining amount of unused heat will be rejected to the sink. What is the sink temperature here? 27 degrees means 300 Kelvin. The maximum possible efficiency percentage, which is the Carnot's efficiency, is what? 1 minus T2 by T1, that is the fraction. We have to multiply by 100. That is the maximum percentage efficiency for any heat engine which is operating between a corresponding source and a sink. So this will happen if you choose that ideal Carnot's engine, right, which will have isothermal expansion, then adiabatic expansion, then isothermal compression, then adiabatic compression. So on the PV graph it will look like this. There will be 2 isothermal steps and 2 adiabatic steps. Okay, so here you can see the maximum efficiency percentage is what? 1 minus 300 by 400 into 100. So what is this? 100 is cancelled. 1 minus 3 by 4 means what? 1 by 4. 1 by 4 into 100 is what? 25%. This is the maximum efficiency we can have. That will be achieved for the ideal heat engine, Carnot's engine. But here the scientist is saying what? He is saying his heat engine is able to give an efficiency of 26%. Is it possible? No, right? Because when we talk about the Carnot's engine, that is the engine which can have the maximum efficiency operating between a given source and given sink. So when he is saying that his heat engine is giving 26%, what is it? It is not possible. Basically that case he is talking about is what? Impossible. Okay, so any heat engine, right, should always have efficiency less than or equal to the Carnot's efficiency. Next we have a question that has come in year 2000. So in fact the same model of question has also come in one of the previous years that we discussed in the videos that we have already covered before. But the difference is in that particular question they have asked only one parameter. Here they are asking 2 parameters. So we will understand what I am talking about. The W by Q means what? This is what is the efficiency factor eta of a Carnot's engine is 1 by 6. Now the temperature of the sink is reduced by 62 degrees Celsius, means it is reduced by the amount of 62 degrees Celsius, only the sink. Then this ratio becomes twice, means what? the efficiency factor eta is become 2 times of the original value, which is what? 2 times of 1 by 6 means it will be 1 by 3. So if you look at it, right, initial case they are giving us the eta. What is it? 1 by 6. Let us say the T2 and T1, they represent the sink temperature and the source temperature. That is the usual notation we follow. Both of them we'll consider in the Kelvin scale. So what is the first relation we'll have? Eta, efficiency factor, will be equal to what? Carnot's engine, right? 1 minus T2 by T1. Okay, so this is like the relation 1, which we can simplify. But let us look at what is happening in the second scenario. So we are reducing the sink temperature by 62 Celsius. Remember, whether we reduce by 62 on the Celsius scale, the same amount of temperature decrease will also happen on the Kelvin scale, because the unit length on both the scales is same. Meaning, say if the temperature is decreasing from 100 to 99 on Celsius scale, right? Kelvin scale, what is going to happen? It will decrease from 373 to 372. Same 1 unit will be the difference. Okay. So means what? In the new final, eta final is what? 1 by 3, right? That is what? 1 minus T2 dash. Like the T2 is changing, sink temperature is changing, but T1 is as it is. So 1 minus T2 dash means what? This is T2 minus 62. It is decreasing by 62. Okay. So divide by T1. So this is like our relation 2. So we have two relations here. And two of these are unknowns. Both T1 and T2 are what? Unknowns. By solving them, we will be able to get. So here what they are asking? They are asking us the initial temperature of the sink and the source. Means simply they are asking T1 and T2. But the thing is what? If you solve these equations, we are going to get T1 and T2 values in terms of Kelvin scale. But they are asking in Celsius. Look at the options, right? Options they are giving us in Celsius scale. So once we get the temperature values, we should convert these from the Kelvin scale to Celsius scale. How do we do it? Simply minus 273. So first we will simplify this one now, equation 1. So what we'll do, if you bring this 1 to the left side, what is it? 1 by 6 minus 1 is equal to minus T2 by T1. 1 by 6 minus 1 means what? That is minus 5 by 6. So minus 5 by 6 is equal to minus T2 by T1. Minus minus is cancelled, cross multiply. 5T1 is equal to 6T2. So this is the modified equation. So 5T1 is equal to 6 times T2. Let us keep it as equation 1. Then look at this one. So here what we'll do, I'll just write it over here. Let us take the, so 1 by 3 is equal to what? Take the LCM. T1 minus T2 plus 62 divided by T1, cross multiply. T1 is equal to 3T1 minus 3T2 plus 3 into 62 is what? It will be 186. So we'll bring this T1 to the right side, it will be becoming minus T1. So 0 is equal to 3T1 minus T1 means what? 2T1 minus 3T2 plus 186. So from this equation 1, look at it now. 5T1 is equal to 6T2. Divide both sides by 2. We'll get what? 2.5 T1 is equal to 3T2. As it is, common substitute. Because we have 3T2 here, right? 0 is equal to what? 2T1 minus. In place of 3T2, we'll substitute what? 2.5 T1. What is this 2T1 minus 2.5 T1? Minus 0.5 into T1. We will bring it to the left side. What is it? The minus will become plus. So 0.5 into T1 is equal to what? 0.5 into T1 will be 186. What will have 0.5 into T1 is equal to what? 186. 0.5 means what? This is like 1 by 2. 186. So T1 is equal to what? 186 into 2. That is 372. That's on the Kelvin scale. But we are looking for the value on the Celsius scale. It means what? 372 minus 273. That is what? 99. So this is what is the T1 is what? Source. So source. They are asking sink and source. So second value will be the source. Look at this. Only one option is matching here. So by this itself we can conclude the answer. What is it? The answer must be what? Option B. Because only in one case we are getting the source temperature as what? 99. But anyway, we'll do the other calculation also. So what is the relation we have? Already we got the T1. What is T1? T1 is what? 372. Now we'll use this T1 value on Kelvin scale into the equation 1. So 5 into T1 is what? 372 is equal to 6 into T2. So we'll have to bring this 6 this side. 5 into 372 divided by 6, that is equal to what? T2. Now we can check it. 6 ones are 6 6 are 36, 6 2s, so 62. 6 into 62 is what? 372. Okay, now what is 5 into 62? That is 310. So T2 will be what? 310 on the Kelvin scale, but we are looking for the value on the Celsius scale, right? Means what? 310 minus 273, that is what? 37 on the Celsius scale. We can check it. So the sink temperature is, original sink temperature is what? 37 Celsius, and source temperature is what? 99. So like we can see right here also, we are able to get one of these correctly, means we will be able to conclude what is the right answer. So here the only thing is, whenever we are using this Carnot's efficiency etc., right, we have to keep one thing clearly in mind, that we are talking about all the temperatures being on the Kelvin scale. Okay, if needed, once you get the Kelvin scale temperature, means we can convert this back into Celsius, like that we can do. Okay, we'll move on to the next question. This is a question that has come in the year 2000. This is based on the relation between degree of freedom F and the ratio of Cp by Cv gamma. To find out the degrees of freedom, the expression is, means we have to find which of these expressions will be correct relation between what? F and gamma. See, the Cp and Cv values, right, they are dependent upon the degrees of freedom. Cp and Cv values, they will be dependent upon the degree of freedom. So Cp will be F plus 2 by 2 into R. What is Cp? F plus 2 by 2 into R. What is Cv? F by 2 into R. So how we'll get the relations? These relations will come from the understanding of the total energy of the gas depending upon the degrees of freedom. So the Cp value will be what? F plus 2 by 2 into R, and Cv is what? F by 2 into R. From here we'll get the relation that Cp by Cv is what? Gamma, right? So gamma will be equal to what? Cp, which is F plus 2 by 2 into R, divided by Cv, F by 2 into R. So R is cancelled, 2 is cancelled. What is it? F plus 2 by F. In fact, this is a common relation that a lot of us will try to remember. Gamma will be equal to what? F plus 2 by F. But here we have to express the value of F in terms of gamma. So what we generally remember is what? This one, gamma is equal to F plus 2 by F. In fact, this is this relation a lot of people even remember, but we have to express here the F value in terms of gamma. So look at this, we'll cross multiply. Gamma into F is equal to what? F plus 2. We'll bring the F to the left side. Gamma into F minus F is equal to 2. So what we'll have? F into gamma minus 1 is equal to 2, means F will be equal to what? 2 by gamma minus 1. So what is the correct relation? Option A is the correct relation. F is equal to what? 2 by gamma minus 1. So these relations will be important. The Cp-Cv relation to the F, as well as Cp-Cv relation with gamma. So these things will be important. Even we have seen some questions being asked. So Cp will be equal to what? R gamma by gamma minus 1. Cv will be equal to R by gamma minus 1. So this basically comes from two equations. We have Cp minus Cv is equal to R, and Cp by Cv is equal to gamma. When you solve both of them, right, we will get these relations. What is it? Cp will be equal to what? R gamma by gamma minus 1, and Cv will be equal to what? R by gamma minus 1. Those relations are also important. Okay, so we'll move on to the next question. This is a question that has come in the year 1999. This is based on the adiabatic process. So again, so if you look at most of the questions in past years, right, we have touched two areas. One is the Carnot's engine and the refrigerator included. Second is the adiabatic process. An ideal gas 27 degrees Celsius is compressed adiabatically to 8 by 27 of its original volume. It is compressed adiabatically to 8 by 27 of the original value. The rise in temperature is, they are even giving us what is the gamma value. So here we have to look at what? The relation between temperature and volume. So for an adiabatic process, right, the relation between temperature and volume is what? T into V power gamma minus 1 will be constant. T into V power gamma minus 1 will be constant, means what? T2 into V2 power gamma minus 1 will be equal to what? T1 into V1 power gamma minus 1. So if here we look at it, right, T1 is what? Initial temperature, that is given 27 Celsius, but we will require it in the Kelvin. Always, the temperature will be on the Kelvin scale, right? So Kelvin means what? This is 300 Kelvin. If initial volume is V1, final volume, look at this, it is compressed adiabatically to 8 by 27 of its original volume, means what? V2 will be equal to V1 into 8 by 27. V2 will be equal to what? V1 into 8 by 27. So look at it. T2 will be equal to what? We will just take the V2 power gamma minus 1 to the right side. T2 will be T1 into V1 power gamma minus 1, V2 power gamma minus 1. So look at this. T2 will be equal to what? T1 is how much? 300 on the Kelvin scale, okay? Into V1 by V2 whole power gamma minus 1. Already gamma is what? 5 by 3. So 5 by 3 minus 1. That is what? What is 5 by 3 minus means? It will be 2 by 3. What is V1 by V2? Look at this. V2 is equal to V1 into 8 by 27, right? So we'll bring the V to that side, means what? The factor will come to the left side. 27 by 8. That is V1 by V2. So look at this. T2 is equal to what? 300 into 27 by 8. That is V1 by V2. Whole power 2 by 3. So this 300 into 27 can be written as what? 3 cube. 8 can be written as what? 2 cube. Whole power 2 by 3. So what we see is the power 3 will get cancelled. How? Because it is like what? 3 by 2 whole cube whole power 2 by 3. So the power 3 will get cancelled. So what you will have is 300 into 3 by 2 whole square. What is 3 by 2 whole square means? It will be 3 square is 9, 2 square is 4. So what is it? 300 into 9 by 4. So what is this 300 into 9 by 4? So 4 ones and 4 sevens are 28 and 4 fives. So 475 is what? 300. So 75 into 9. So T2 value will be on Kelvin scale, right? What is it? 75 into 9. How much it is? 9 5s are 45. 9 7s are 63. So it will be what? 675 on the Kelvin scale. So here they are asking what is the rise in temperature, means what? Initial temperature is how much? 300. So from 300 it is going all the way up to what? 675. So what is the rise? Rise is what? 675 minus 300, that is what? 375. So what is the rise in temperature here? It is option B. So if you look at this question, right, the only thing is once you get that relation, the relation between the temperature and volume, right, in adiabatic process, it is more about mathematically how quickly we will simplify it. That's it. So if you are able to simplify it fast, means we will be able to get the answer fast. And also we have to be careful. In the name of getting the answer fast, right, we should not end up making some mistake, because these kind of questions are there for the taking. We should never lose marks in this. Okay. Next we'll go to another question which has come in the year 1998, and we look at what is the statement. So if the ratio of specific heat of the gas at constant pressure to the constant volume is gamma, so this is what? Cp by Cv they are saying is gamma. The change in internal energy of a mass of a gas when the volume is changing from V to 2V at a constant pressure P, means they are asking us what is the delta U value in terms of the pressure, volume and gamma. Okay, so what is the delta U actually for any ideal gas? Delta U is what? NCV delta T, correct? Cv is what? Already we have seen. Cv will be in terms of Gamma, CV is what? R by gamma minus 1. Though it is not required here, what is the CP value? R gamma by gamma minus 1. Okay. So CV is what? R by gamma minus 1 into delta T. Delta T means what? Final temperature T2 minus initial temperature T1. Okay. So look at this. The numerator, if you multiply, means what you will have? nRT2 minus nRT1 by gamma minus 1. nRT2 means what? Ideal gas equation, right? nRT2 means what? Pressure finally, which is P, volume 2V. So P into 2V minus nRT1 means what? Pressure is not changing, same P. Initial volume is what? V. So what is it? 2PV minus PV, that is nothing but PV only. So what we'll have? PV by gamma minus 1. This is our delta U value. So what is the delta U value? PV by gamma minus 1, that is option A. PV by gamma minus 1 is what? That is option A. Okay. We'll move on to the next question. This is a question, straightforward question based on the Carnot's engine. The efficiency of a Carnot's engine, which is operating with a reservoir temperature 100 degrees Celsius. Reservoir means what? That is the source. In Kelvin, what is the value going to be? 100 Celsius means 373 on the Kelvin scale. Okay. And minus 23 Celsius. So this is like our the reservoir or the source T1. What is the T1 value? 373. T2 is what? Minus 23 Celsius, means we should convert this into Kelvin scale, right? So we should add plus 273, that is going to be what? 250 on the Kelvin scale, that is T2. So we have to find the efficiency, right? What is the efficiency? Carnot's efficiency factor is what? 1 minus T2 by T1, which is what? T1 minus T2 by T1. So T1 is what? 373 minus T2 is what? 250 divided by 373. Here we are not even required to simplify this. If we look at the options, right? What is the correct answer? Option B. We can just, they are not even expecting us to simplify the expression. Okay. So you might get a feeling that if you try to compare the questions that have come like, before 2000s and all, they'll be relatively easy when we look at them with regard to the questions that have come from 2000 to like 2015-16. But even in the recent years, right, like last 2-3 years, we are seeing a trend where the questions again are like more straightforward. Next we have another reasoning question. This has come in the 97 paper. A sample of a gas expands from volume V1 to V2. This is what? Expansion. Expansion means what? The gas will actually do the work. The amount of work done by the gas is greatest when the expansion is, they are saying, adiabatic, isothermal, isobaric, or it is equal in all the cases. Look at this now. Whenever we want to understand what is the work done, we should go to the PV graph. So PV graph, you're starting from a volume V1, expanding till you reach volume V2. Isobaric means what? I'll probably use different color markers to indicate. Isobaric means what? What is isobaric means? Constant pressure means it will just go like this. This is our isobaric. Okay. Next they are saying isothermal and adiabatic. See, isothermal as well as adiabatic both will be what? Like, exponentially decreasing curve. But if say for example this is isothermal, the adiabatic curve will be more steeper. Adiabatic curve will be more steeper, means what? It will decrease, the pressure will be decreasing more rapidly. So this is what is going to be the adiabatic. So adiabatic curve is going to decrease more rapidly. It will be more steeper graph than the isothermal. Isothermal will be gradual, but adiabatic will be what? It will be steeper. So the decrease will be more rapid. So what you see is we are looking to compare the work done, right? So work done will be given by what? The area below the respective curve and the x-axis, which is the volume axis. Look at this, where the, so if you want to talk about, so between these two limits we have to find the area. Area below the adiabatic means what? This is the one. Area below isothermal means what? We have to look at this part also will come extra. Whatever is there in the adiabatic will come and some extra will come. But if you talk about isobaric means what? Look at the isobaric. All the area below that horizontal line will come. Means whatever the two areas we marked before plus that extra area that is there above. Means what? In which case the area is maximum. Area is maximum in which case? In the case of the isobaric, which means the work done will be maximum in the case of the isobaric. So we are able to answer this question by looking at the area below the curve. So what is the answer for this? It is option D, which is the isobaric. Next we have another straightforward question. This has come in the year 1996. Again based on the adiabatic relation. An ideal gas undergoing adiabatic change has which of the following pressure temperature relationship? It's like, people nowadays they'll even remember these relations. So adiabatic means PV power gamma will be constant. That is the relation between the pressure and volume. T into V power gamma minus 1 will be constant. That is the relation between the temperature and volume. P power 1 minus gamma into T power gamma will be constant. This is the relation between the pressure and temperature. So what is the answer for this? It is option B. But if you are not willing to remember all the three, if you just want to remember this first equation, means you should know how do you derive. Like if say for example I'll remember only this PV power gamma is equal to constant, then I should know how do I derive. If they are asking pressure temperature, means I should not have volume. So what I am going to do from the ideal equation, right? V is what? nRT by P. So I'll substitute. Means P into nRT by P whole power gamma is what? Constant. Like this I have to derive. Means what? P by P power gamma nR power gamma into T power gamma will be constant. So this is what? This is P power 1 minus gamma. This is T power gamma. nR is anyway a constant for a given amount of gas. So we will take it to the right side. That will become a new constant. So what is the relation? P power 1 minus gamma into T power gamma will be constant. Like this, we should be able to derive the result. If you are not willing to remember, means you should be able to quickly derive it. But if you are remembering, means it will always give you edge. Like even we have seen some questions, right? Instead of asking the relation, they will ask a problem based on the relation. That means what? If you remember the relation, means you will not spend that little bit extra time. And that's what we are all fighting for, right? To make sure that how quickly we can solve the questions in the final examination. Okay. Next we have another question based on the adiabatic. So we see that quite a lot of questions have come based on this adiabatic and then the heat engines. Look at this. Adiabatic process is happening for a diatomic gas. So diatomic gas means what? For the diatomic gas, what is the gamma value going to be? Gamma will be what? 7 by 5. So those things we have to keep in mind. A diatomic gas initially at 18 degrees Celsius. Okay, it means this is what? T1 is compressed adiabatically to 1/8 of the original volume. It is compressed to what? 1/8 of the original volume. The temperature after the compression is, means here we are looking at what? We are looking at the relation between the temperature and the volume. We are looking at the relation between what? The temperature and the volume. Okay. So look at it. What is the relation? We have been talking about these relations already in couple of previous questions also, right? What is it? T into V power gamma minus 1 will be constant. Otherwise, if you want to compare between the initial state and the final state, T1 into V1 power gamma minus 1 is equal to what? T2 into V2 power gamma minus 1. T1 into V1 power gamma minus 1 is equal to what? T2 into V2 power gamma minus 1. So here we are looking at the temperature after the compression, right? Means T2 we are looking at. So we will bring the V2 to the left side. It's not V2, it is what? V2 power gamma minus 1. So look at it. T1 into V1 by V2 whole power gamma minus 1. That is the T2. What is the T2 value? It is what? T1 into V1 by V2 whole power gamma minus 1. So T2 is what? T1 into V1 by V2 whole power gamma minus 1. So here we know that relation between the volumes. What is the relation? They are saying it is compressed adiabatically to 1/8 of the original volume. Means what? V2 is equal to what? V1 by 8. V2 is equal to what? V1 by 8. Okay, so V1 by V2 means what? The 8 will come to the left side. So we'll see here V1 by V2 is what? It will be equal to simply 8. So T1 is what? 18 Celsius means what? Kelvin scale we have to do plus 273. That will become what? 18 plus 273, that is what? 291. That is the Kelvin. So T1 is 291 Kelvin scale into V1 by V2 is what? 8. 8 power gamma. It's a diatomic. Gamma means what? 7 by 5 or 1.4. So gamma minus 1 means what? 1.4 minus 1. Okay. So what is 1.4 minus 1 means? It is 0.4. So look at this. What we'll have? 291 into 8 to the power 0.4. So here 0.4, I mean, this is 0.4 can be written as what? It can be written as 2 by 5. So 8 to the power 2 by 5 and 8 can be written as what? 2 cube. So what we'll be having totally is 2 to the power of 3 whole power 2 by 5. That is what? 2 to the power of 6 by 5. So what is it that we'll be having? 2 to the power of 6 by 5. So here this question, right, we will be required to approximate. So here 2 to the power of 6 by 5, right, because there is no other way that we can find out what is the value of this 2 to the power of 6 by 5. So 2 power 6 by 5 will be equal to what? It will be approximately 2.297. The value of 2 to the power of 6 by 5 will be what? Approximately 2.297. So if you multiply 291 with 2.297, we will get nearly 668. 668.4 will come. But if you want to value in the Celsius scale, this is Kelvin scale, we want the value in the Celsius scale, right? It means what? This 668.4 minus 273. What is it going to be? It will be what? 395.4 in the Celsius scale. So what is the answer for this? It is what? 395.4 on the Celsius scale. The correct answer is what? Option A. In this, the only thing is we have a little bit painstaking exponential term that we have to simplify, because in other cases, right, what we see is that the terms are getting simplified easily. Like we were having, the powers getting cancelled. That's what will be the case in most of the problems. But at times, right, we can have some hurdles like this. In this case, the only thing that we can do is to see how best we can approximate it. Okay, so the correct answer for this is option A. So this is about this part video, and we'll see in the next part.